Good afternoon and welcome to RNCM Radio, and today a special welcome to prospective RNCM students attending our online Open Day. I'm Larry Goves, and as part of our Open Day schedule, this show focuses on some of our recent, and not so recent, alumni. This is the 10th RNCM radio show, and we've already heard from a wide range of our alumni and the different kinds of music making and other professional activity they've gone on to, including theatre makers, DJs, music producers, curators, arts managers, broadcast professionals, and of course a rich spectrum of music performers. Whether it's over the last 10 weeks of shows, or just for the next hour, we're not going to be able to capture the full range of alumni musical activity. However, we can speak to a cross-section of our former students for some news about where they're up to, a little insight into their time at the RNCM, and perhaps even some words of wisdom for anyone at the start of their RNCM journey. We'll also have some music from RNCM piano students recorded at home. It's always heartening to hear music being made despite the current difficult circumstances. And, as usual, we'll be exploring the RNCM Performance Archive. All this punctuated by the excellent radio jingles sent in by our listeners, starting with this one from RNCM trombone tutor Carol Jarvis. RNCM. We start our programme this afternoon with a chamber ensemble unique for several different reasons. They're rather modest in person, so I'll tell you that amongst their many accolades and awards, they're the winners of the 2018 Royal Overseas League Chamber Music Competition, and the first ever brass ensemble to win the Royal Philharmonic Society Henderson Chamber Ensemble Award. Before we hear from the members of the A4 Brass Quartet, let's hear them play. That was Toccata by Jonathan Bates, the tenor horn player with the A4 Brass Quartet, who were playing there. I'm told this is one of their most popular concert openers, and I'm not surprised. Let's hear from the group themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Robertson, and I'm the euphonium player for A4 Brass Quartet. The quartet was started at the RNCM back in 2013 during our first year of our undergraduate performance courses. And so back then, chamber music was a compulsory part of the curriculum, and we found ourselves being very lazy and the only ones to be left without a grip. And that's why we've ended up with this kind of unusual combination of instruments that is different to the standard brass quartet. So usually you would normally look to see two cornets, a tenor horn, and the euphonium, but we've substituted one of the cornets for the baritone horn, which gives us a unique sound and a kind of mellower sound with more richness in the bass parts, if you like. A big moment for us was when we entered the RNCM's Brass Prize in our first year of study. Now, we had to play a substantial major work, And obviously for our unique instrumentation, there was no such piece. And Johnny, who was also studying composition at the time, came up with a fantastic piece called Mists of the Mountains. And it was so good, we actually used it as the title track to our debut CD a couple of years later. We ended up going on to win the prize and qualify for the Cross School Prize, which featured piano trios and a bassoon quartet, I think. And then 2 string grips, percussion ensemble, all sorts of instruments and combinations. And we played last that day, and we ended up winning that as well, and got the audience prize vote. So that was the real kind of kickstart to our career, I guess, and to make us think, yeah, we could take this seriously, and this is the kind of stuff that we hope people want to hear.
Of course, Jonathan Bates took a rather different path through the college.
So actually we all studied our own individual solo instruments on the performance course at the RNCM. But personally, I was also studying composition at the same time. And one of the big things I've certainly found from the RNCM is it's got such a huge array of contexts, both local and afar in the professional industry. I mean, you look at so many fantastic ensembles, both orchestral, brass band, and you've got wind bands and choirs. You've got so many fantastic ensembles with really close connections to the college, and certainly as a composer I found that the opportunity to have your music performed by these ensembles was really, really rewarding, and it certainly learned a lot more from hearing those ensembles perform it. But also on a performance level, you go to concerts now with the RLPO over in Liverpool, the Halle, the BBC Phil, Opera North, and you see so many alumni from the RNCM either as regular members or as people who are there on trial or as part of schemes. So the connection to the great ensembles of the north of England is certainly one of the big plus points of the RNCM, because you just see so much connection between those with the college.
Hi, I'm Mike Kavanagh, the baritone horn player in A4 Brass Quartet. I think pride is the main feeling. Following our graduation from the International Artist Diploma in Chamber Music in June of 2018, we were invited by Principal Linda Merrick to become Honorary Associate Artists of the RNCM in recognition of our achievements in the music world. For all 4 of us, I know that this is a real honour to be recognised by one of the leading conservatoires in the world and now be ambassadors for the college everywhere we go. On a personal level, I'm originally from Stockport, just 5 miles or so down the road from the RNCM. So I grew up playing at the RNCM with my local music service and youth band, and therefore the college has always been very close to me, both geographically and musically. Completing my undergraduate course, where I co-founded the A4 Brass Quartet, completing the IAD with the quartet, and now being Honorary Associate Artist has been a real journey, and one I know we're all very proud of. We now get to work as ambassadors for the college everywhere we go, and I know we're all proud to promote the RNCM to prospective students and music staff at various music schools across the world. During the lockdown, we've been making lots of plans for when this current world situation is over to do lots of ambassadorial and recruitment work for the college, and I know we're all excited for that, being able to give something back to an institution that gave so much to us over the last 6 or 7 years.
I asked all our guests this afternoon one particular question. This turned out to present a particular challenge to a group with such a long history with the RNCM.
Hi everybody, it's Jamie Smith here, the cornet player from A4 Brass Quartet, and I've been asked to answer the question of what one piece of advice could I give to people starting out at the RNCM. Now, I actually did, along with the other members of A4 Brass, a degree, and then went on to do an International Artist Diploma, so I spent 5 years at the Royal Northern College of Music, so to only have one piece of advice to give you would be very hard to find, so instead I'm going to give you 3, and these 3 pieces of advice, I would say the 3 most important things of how you can get through college and be successful during college and have that successful experience. So first of all, which is probably one of the hardest things to do, is make sure you have a balanced life. So many people who go to the RNCM think, I have to play a bit and do a little bit of practice and that's pretty much it, and that is completely incorrect. Okay, so yes, you have to practice, yes, you have to work hard, yes, you have to turn up for your lessons, but you've got a lot of academic work to do. Okay, you've got to all be contactable from people from the orchestral officers, people from admin, etc. And you've also got to go out and enjoy yourself and also manage everyday chores like shopping, things like that. So make sure that whatever you do, whatever other hobbies you may have, make sure you balance them in the correct way. Okay, there's a lot of little cogs that make up the college experience machine, and you need to make sure that you balance them all correctly. My second piece of advice is to take chamber music seriously. Now, of course, that's a real easy one for me to say, because I am a member of A4 Brass Quartet, who are busy all the time, and we started at the RNCM, but unfortunately, at the time that we were there, not many brass players took it seriously. And it was hard for us to understand why, because we started doing it and we absolutely loved doing chamber music. And the things that we've got out of chamber music that are aside from amazing concerts, amazing tours, amazing new repertoire, new experiences, is incredible. And the third one, which is advice you'll be given from everybody, is just to enjoy it. You'll meet so many new incredible people and players. You'll make so many brilliant memories, and I guarantee that when it's over, you'll probably want to do it again.
So my name is Tom Harold. I am a composer, and I was at the RNCM between 2009 and 2015, and I studied with David Horn, Gary Carpenter and Adam Gorb. I'm originally from Glasgow in Scotland, but I currently live in Didsbury in South Manchester. So I've lived down here since I moved to Manchester. So I've been living in Manchester for the best part of 11 years now. I suppose my kind of biggest career highlights, my music has been performed by the BBC Scottish Symphony, BBC Philharmonic, Bournemouth Symphony, Aurora Orchestra, SAFA, Edinburgh Quartet, Scottish Chamber Orchestra. I opened the last night of the Proms in 2016. My music's been performed at the Berlin Philharmonie. So I've been very, very fortunate to have had some really quite fantastic performances of my music over my career so far. I did both my undergraduate and master's studies at the RNCM, and certainly when I was choosing the RNCM, I had kind of a pick of quite a few conservatoires to choose from when I was 18 and applying to conservatoires. And the thing that kind of stuck out to me at the RNCM was just the kind of real fantastic sense of community, the support that you get from the staff, and I mean, certainly as a composer, the amazing performance opportunities that are available with the brand new orchestra, the composer labs, and just a real sense that there's so many people in the community who want to do new music, who have it as a real active part of their practice, which was really exciting for being a young composer and being immersed in this world where so many people want to do new music. Certainly for me, the most positive things that I managed to get from being at the RNCM were these performances. So some really fantastic orchestral performances where the orchestra really are very committed to the performance of these new pieces. And as part of these processes, I actually wrote, I think it was 3 concertos over my 6 years of being there, which is a really amazing experience as a young composer to get, and you don't really get that anywhere else. So I really learned so much from that whole experience. It was really tremendous opportunity to get from the RNCM.
Like A4 Brass and some of our other guests this afternoon, Tom is an honorary associate artist at the RNCM. As our principal Linda Merrick writes, these positions recognise the exceptional track record of some of our young alumni, as well as the loyalty and commitment they have continued to show to the institution.
I'm of course really thrilled to be an honorary associate artist of the RNCM. I have been for, I think, 3 years now, maybe a little bit more. And it's really fantastic to keep a relationship with your alma mater. I think that's really important, and they're able to kind of keep an eye on what I'm up to, and I'm able to keep an eye on what the RNCM are up to as well. And it's very good for, I think, the students to see what can potentially happen when you go to the RNCM. And I'm very happy to, of course, share my experiences of a fantastic time at the RNCM, and to kind of be able to give something back to the college. I think it's really important, and I'm very, very, very happy to be part of this wonderful scheme. I suppose my top piece of advice I would give to young musicians starting out at the RNCM, if you're going as a composer, I would say is to start listening to as much music as you can right now. And listen to things that challenge you, listen to things that you don't like, listen to things that really make you think about your own practice and what kind of makes you tick as a composer. Because certainly the things that I learned the most from was from actually the music that I really, really disliked. And then kind of coming around to a particular different school of thinking or a different aesthetic that I'm just haven't explored at all. That is exactly where you're going to learn the most. So really listen to new things, and I suppose I kind of tag on to that is actually write for instruments that you don't play yourself as well. That's probably a really important thing. And of course the RNCM gives you that fantastic opportunity to do that as well, because you're just going to meet so many musicians, and really listen to what players say, listen to the feedback. Don't go into a rehearsal with a kind of a fixed idea. Be really, really prepared for a collaboration. I think that's the greatest thing about the RNCM, is that so much of the course is completely collaborative, and you end up working with such an amazing group of people.
One of the many groups that Tom has written for in his already distinguished career is A4 Brass. It seemed like too good an opportunity to miss sharing their recording of his exceptional short quartet, Craze. That was Jamie Smith, Jonathan Bates, Michael Kavanagh and Chris Robertson of A4 Brass performing Tom Harold's Craze. Our next two guests are also both honorary associate artists at the RNCM, and both have made careers in the world of opera.
Hi, I'm Soraya Maffey and I am an RNCM honorary associate artist. I'm from Manchester. I was born in Bury and raised in Ramsbottom and then up in Rawtenstall in Lancashire. And I studied at the Royal Northern for my undergraduate from 2006 to 2010. But I also studied in the junior school before that for 2 years, 2004 to 2006. Throughout my entire time at the Northern, I studied with Sandra Dugdale, who still teaches at the RNCM to this day, and we're still very, very close. I left the Royal Northern and went to study for my Masters in Opera School at the Royal College of Music in London, and I went straight into working as a solo guest artist for various companies. I actually worked for Grange Park Opera, doing roles for them during my Masters and Opera School, singing Constance in Dialogue of the Carmelites by Poulenc, which the RNCM recently mounted their own production of, and First Niece in Peter Grimes. And upon leaving college, I have worked with the Théâtre du Châtelet in Paris, singing Aminta in Il Re Pastore. I have sung many times with the English National Opera, where I am a Harwood artist. Highlights being Mabel in The Pirates of Penzance, Titania in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and most recently I did Yum Yum in their famous production of Jonathan Miller's The Mikado by Gilbert and Sullivan. Most recently, I have been singing the role of Susanna in The Marriage of Figaro for Welsh National Opera, and I made my debuts as Gretel in Hansel and Gretel for Grange Park Opera, and my debut as Gilda in Verdi's Rigoletto for Seattle Opera. I love singing recitals and have been fortunate enough to perform with some wonderful accompanists. My college accompanist Ian Tyndale, who accompanied me in the Kathleen Ferrier Awards. Also Simon Lepper, Graham Johnson, Malcolm Martineau and Ian Burnside, who are wonderful collaborators. And we performed in venues such as the Wigmore Hall, at Oxford Leader, and at Buxton Opera Festival. I studied opera, vocal and opera at the Royal Northern College of Music. When I joined at the junior school, I had just won the National Junior English Song Prize and been studying with a local music teacher, and she suggested that I spoke to the Royal Northern upon winning that in order to use the bursary that I was gifted by the Song Prize. And I never looked back since. I met Sandra Dugdale, and she really encouraged me to pursue opera as a career, and I loved working with her. And I'll never forget starting at the Royal Northern and being so excited for my undergraduate, working with loads of other young singers, people who just got me and were interested in the same things I was interested in. And I loved working with conductors. I loved being in the opera productions. And a particular highlight was when we did Eugene Onegin, which was in my first year of undergraduate, and I was singing in the chorus. And I'll never forget hearing the whole of the chorus on stage for the first time. There's an amazing moment for chorus, their first entry in Onegin. And I thought, wow, this is so cool. These are all my new friends. We're all singing together in this fabulous production. And it just felt fantastic. Being an RNCM Honorary Associate Artist is hugely exciting for me, particularly because I'm from Manchester. I love my studies at the Royal Northern, and particularly working with my teacher, Sandra Dugdale. It's a very special relationship between a musician and their teacher. But to be in the city that I grew up in and to be part of a community of musicians who are based here really matters to me. A lot of the time in the music industry, it can become very London focused. And I think that Manchester has such a wealth of artists and of wonderful musicians, from the Royal Northern, Cheltenham School of Music, the BBC Philharmonic, the Halle, the Manchester Camerata. We are so well equipped with wonderful talent, and the output of creativity in Manchester, not only in classical music, but in popular music and punk and rock and indie music. It's so rich, the tapestry of musicians here. And to be an honorary associate artist of the leading conservatoire here is a real privilege for me. And I feel very fortunate to continue my relationship with the Royal Northern now that I am a graduated and working singer. The one piece of advice I would give to any young musician who is starting out at the Royal Northern now is to embrace every element of college life. Go to all your classes, engage with the professors, unite with your fellow students, and be courageous enough to ask to collaborate, to ask, can I join this class? Or, I'm really interested in this kind of thing. Do you have any advice on that? We can't know in any industry what our journey is going to be. But within the creative arts and within classical music, there are so many jobs and opportunities, but they're not necessarily the most obvious choice. So go explore and ignite your inquisitive mind, your creative mind, and fully embrace every opportunity that comes your way.
Hi everybody, my name is James Hendry. And I am basically a freelance conductor working mainly in the operatic repertoire. I have worked at the Royal Opera House for 3 years. I was on the Yeti Parker Young Artist programme as a repetiteur and a conductor. And I have since worked at English National Opera. I made my debut English National Opera a couple of years ago, conducting Lucia de Lammermoor. And I have also conducted the Marriage of Figaro for Opera North. And I have just been appointed to the position of Erster Kapellmeister for the Staatsoper in Hanover, Germany. So I'm going to be moving over to Germany to take up a conducting position in the Opera House there. And I've also got other things lined up, including operatic debuts, conducting in Frankfurt and the Tudor Festspiele in Earl, Austria. I studied at the RNCM from 2010 to 2016. I did 4 years on the undergraduate course as a pianist. So I studied the piano for 4 years, and then I was so lucky that I was able to obtain a scholarship, the ABRSN scholarship, to then study as a repetiteur in the vocal department. So playing for singers, playing for the operas, and playing for coachings, and really working on my operatic knowledge and vocal repertoire. Probably what the best thing about college is it has such a buzz, and it's so great to work with all of the amazing tutors, visiting tutors and full-time tutors there. And the one thing I found so great about the RNCM was that I went to the RNCM sort of knowing that I didn't want to be a concert pianist. And the RNCM really nurtured my want to be a more collaborative pianist, which then enabled me to work with singers more, because I loved working with singers, and then sort of helped me down my path towards being a repetiteur. And then I went off to the opera house straight after my masters, and then I ended up doing a lot more conducting, and that's where my path's taken me. Some of my most positive memories are playing for the various vocal competitions with the singers, playing for the operas, playing for the opera scenes, being a collaborative pianist whilst also studying my solo piano degree. I'd say those were some particular moments. It's really important to me to be an honorary associate artist because the RNCM nurtured me so much, as I say, with the scholarship, the RNCM scholarship to study my masters, which I wouldn't have otherwise been able to do without that help. So it's really important for me to now be able to give back to the RNCM as an institution that supported me and nurtured me for 6 years. And I'm hoping, in the future, as my career gets stronger, I can hopefully offer the college and the students of the college some help in any way that I can, be that with, students asking questions or working with the students, or just simply being a voice in the world of music for the college. So I'm really, really humbled, and I'm really, really excited at being an honorary associate artist. One piece of advice I would give any student is use the time to the best of your advantage. Get yourself involved in as much as you can, because like me, you might find that it takes you down a really interesting path that you wouldn't have thought. When I started college in 2010, I didn't think I'd be conducting Don Giovanni for the Staatsoper in Hanover, or I would be working with the Royal Opera House Orchestra or conducting Lucia de Lammermoor at ENO. I didn't think that would be a thing. I thought I might do some accompanying, or I might do some repetiteuring. But I just think, whilst you're at college, because it's such a melting pot of so many wonderful performances and ensemble opportunities and learning opportunities, just take what you can and really gain from it. And you never know what sort of path it might take you down. for students in my line of work wanting to work in the opera world is get to grips with your languages, guys. Languages are so important for any singer, for any conductor working in opera or who wants to travel the globe conducting. Languages are so important. I'm still getting to grips with mine now, and if I was to tell myself 10 years ago nearly what I needed to do, it would be to get to grips with more Italian, German and French, so I don't have to do so much catch up now, but I'm loving it all the same.
You've been listening to Soraya Maffey and James Hendry, as well as James's informal piano arrangement from Cavalleria Rusticana by Pietro Mascagni, recorded during lockdown over Easter as a message of musical solidarity to colleagues, friends and family. It's not unusual for conductors, like James, to start out in another discipline. However, there is also a world-leading conducting postgraduate programme at the RNCM, run by Clark Rondell and Mark Heron.
My name is Chloe van Zoderstedt. I was a conducting student at the Royal Northern College of Music 2015-2017. Since 2017, the career has really opened. First, I've been signed by Intermusica, allowing me to make my debut with absolutely amazing orchestras in France, such as the Orchestre de Chambre de Paris in Théâtre des Champs-Élysées, Orchestre de Tours, Orchestre de Montpellier, among others. Working with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra, where I'm going back in July, hopefully for some recording sessions. I also won the third prize at the Cologne International Conducting Competition in Germany only last October, where already I'm being booked by German orchestras for next seasons as a guest conductor. I was also, during my RNCM years, the assistant of François-Xavier Roth with his youth orchestra in France. Sadly, of course, during this coronavirus, many concerts have been cancelled. I was supposed in March to make my debut with the ensemble Manchester-based Psafa ensemble. Also work with a French orchestra, Orchestre National des Pays de la Loire, also in Spain, Tenerife, with an amazing program. Educational concerts with the London Philharmonic Orchestra in London, and also working in Germany. But next season, I'm looking forward to really making my debut in US and in Canada. Very excited as well to make my debut with the London Philharmonic Orchestra, the Philharmonia and the City Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, and returning to the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in Cadogan Hall next season. I've been very fortunate to have two amazing teachers who allowed me to develop, because you have to know that once you're out of any colleges, actually, any college, you are visible to everyone. So the RNCM is a very safe place to try things. So actually my advice to you, RNCM students, first year or last year, is really grab opportunities. If you are a first year, think already of the after RNCM. That was very useful for me. Talking to your teachers, talking to your friends about how you want your career to develop, what is your goal. A highlight of the RNCM for me has been, first, within the institution you conduct all the time. Every day you have a rehearsal to attend or to conduct. You have so many opportunities to have this visibility you need. And once again, this is a safe place to make some mistakes. You should make the mistakes at the RNCM to learn while you are in this very safe environment and friendly environment. Because I said it again, once you're out, you are visible and you are treated as a professional. And so just grab as many opportunities as you can. Second highlight, of course, is being able to assist at the BBC Philharmonic, at the Liverpool Philharmonic, and also massive highlight to have Sir Michael Elder as one of our mentor, who was absolutely there very often to give us some masterclasses, some table sessions as well on works he knows so well.
As well as a classical programme here at the RNCM, we also have a now well-established popular music degree. Our next guest is a member of already immensely successful King Calloway, a 6-piece country pop band distinguished for their instrumental and vocal virtuosity. I caught up with their keyboardist and guitarist, former RNCM student Simon Dumas.
Hey, I'm Simon Dumas, currently in Gibraltar, my hometown. I basically was travelling with my band King Calloway and got caught in Europe when the travel ban kicked in for the States, so I haven't been able to get back to my life. I have a band there with, a record deal and all the fun stuff, and basically we've been stuck I've been stuck. It's weird to say I've been stuck at home because being at home is lovely, but yeah, I'm in Gibraltar trying to take in as much of the good weather as I can. It's been an awesome 2 years for me since I left the RNCM. It was actually right after my final recital that I went to the States with this opportunity to join a band, King Calloway, and we've done some really cool things, performed on television over in the States. We played the Jimmy Kimmel live show, we did the Late Late Show with James Corden, and the Today Show, which is a breakfast show in New York. So yeah, some super cool highlights, obviously, but I think it's been really cool looking back and just seeing the kind of training that I had in the RNCM kind of prepping me for whatever journey I was going to go on, especially as a touring musician. So I look back really fondly and really grateful for all the times that we talked about, vocal health and just maintaining a good positive mind despite sometimes the lack of sleep. I think if I could look back now and maybe give advice to either myself when I was in the RNCM or any young students, I guess I would say just immerse yourself as much as you can. Sometimes things feel weird, opportunities come, and you think, what benefit is this, random gig in the middle of nowhere gonna do? But at the end of the day, it's just practice. It's about really honing your skills, and I think that if you work hard, I genuinely believe that on the other end of it, it's going to come back with some incredible rewards. So I would say somewhere between that, working extremely hard, and then following your gut as well. Sometimes things don't feel right. Don't overthink it. Maybe don't do it. Feel free to say no to things when you feel like you are overworking. Maybe I've just contradicted myself there, but that is what I would say, and I would say it's probably going to be all right. So just keep working hard and enjoy these years.
King Calloway's debut album Rivers was released on BBR Music Group's Stony Creek Records imprint last year, and if you haven't already heard it, I'd urge you to check it out. Our next guest has forged an eclectic career with her own brand of specialist exploratory pop long before the RNCM had a popular music course. While in Manchester, she was already performing and recording with major groups, including Ninja Tune's Home Life and Graham Massey's Toolshed. She has since been regularly featured on BBC Radio 1, 2, 3 and 6, has toured the world and performed with some of the most significant international artists in particular, classical, electronic and experimental territories.
Hello, my name is Seeming Toe, and I'm a former student of the Royal Northern College of Music. I'm a musician, composer, producer, vocalist. Studied with Teresa Carhill, an inspiring and wonderful teacher at the Northern back in the day. I have an album coming out towards the end of the year, so watch this space.
I asked Seeming if she would talk about a particular career highlight, difficult when there are so many to choose from.
One would be touring my electronic vocal piano project, Songs for My Grandmother, with my concert pianist mum, Enlock Wu. Our first stop was performing at the South Bank, where I saw her perform when I was a child, so that was quite a special moment. What advice would I give to a young musician starting out at the Royal Northern? Well, be in touch with what's happening. Find your voice, find your passion, find out about the music business. delight in your journey and work super duper hard at what you're good at, and also keep seeking out anew. Green, green, in riverside grass, dance, dance in garden willow. Sometime a singing girl, now a traveller's wife, traveller departed. It's hard, she feels alone. Upstairs, bright, bright, she faces the light. Sometime a singing girl, now a traveller's wife, traveller departed. It's hard, she feels alone. Pretty, pretty, her red padded face, slender, slender, the white hand she extends to me. Sometime a singing girl, now a traveller's wife, traveller departed, but it's hard to keep alone.
That was Seeming Toe performing her track Traveller. Check out her new album later this year. I think one of the defining characteristics of so many RNCM alumni is their musical flexibility and creativity in so many different areas of music making. Our next guest was also a student at the RNCM back in the 1990s.
Hello everyone, my name is Dinuk Wijayaratne and I'm a composer, conductor and pianist. It is a very beautiful day here in Toronto, Canada. I feel very blessed to enjoy my career in which I have the freedom to compose what I want for very inspiring musicians around the world. I've had the privilege of winning a lot of the national awards. I've been able to perform at venues such as Carnegie Hall and the Berlin Philharmonie and share the stage with some of my heroes such as Yo-Yo Ma. Currently, I was supposed to be on tour in the US presenting my newly written clarinet concerto, but post-COVID, I'm hoping we'll be able to get things moving again. And in the meantime, there's plenty of composition to do with several years of projects ahead, so I'm looking forward to that. I think this very surreal time has at least given us the chance to take a breath and decide, what to do next. I studied composition at the RNCM, but on the side, I ended up studying many things as well, such as conducting and improvisation. And this was before they even had any formal improv training. And what I really loved about the RNCM was that you could satisfy such wide-ranging interests if you had them. the social aspect of the college was so strong, and it was such that I felt I could do this very easily, and I'm so glad that was the case. I believe as an artist, you should be able to explore laterally as much as you like. What I would say to young musicians in an increasingly, I think, globalized age is, as a creative individual, you stand at the intersection between every single one of your passions and influences. So don't stop searching for this point of intersection. The goals you set for yourself as young artists should be led by those passions and your values, and you should be 100% authentic as you go about this journey. So good luck. This is such an exciting time.
Finally this afternoon, we're going to hear some Beethoven performed by current RNCM piano students. First is the pianist Olivia Dance, performing the second of Beethoven's Bagatelles Opus 126. This music, beautifully played, is recorded at home. I think it's so important to share our music making, whatever the circumstances. Our final performance this afternoon is the second movement of Beethoven's Sonata in D major for piano with four hands. Our piano students, used to getting access to the RNCM substantial collection of Steinway grand pianos, have been some of the students most affected by lockdown, and this recording, also made at home, has been made on an electric piano. Again, there should be no barrier to us sharing great playing. I'll let the performers, Franzina Such and Louis Pereira, introduce the work.
Hi everyone, I'm Fruity.
And I'm Louis. We are going to play Beethoven's only sonata for piano duet.
Beethoven contributed just a handful to the piano four hands literature, of which this sonata in D major is an interesting piece.
It has two movements. The first is like a forerunner to the most popular symphony of all time.
And the second movement is very pastoral and reminds me of the Sixth Symphony, or a postcard of the Viennese countryside.
I love its theme. Despite what people tend to say about Beethoven's melodies, this one's very satisfying to sing.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoy.
That's all from RNCM Radio this week. We'll be back next week for the final show of the term.